Are you tired of Injustice 2 news yet? I know I'm not. Alright, let's go back into some Injustice 2 goodness. Alright, I am Stefan, Black Cyborg as you know me, and I'm going to cover another video here today. Third video right in a row here. This one's from IGN. Whew. Excuse me, a lot of questions answered in this video. A lot of the things we've been pondering, wondering, all of that goodness is pretty much answered in this video for the most part. I'm not going to go through the entire video because I'm going to try and keep this short and brief, but we have this video with IGN. It's a video interview with a lot of gameplay as well. We've seen a lot of gameplay in the last two videos, so I'm going to save the gameplay this time. Basically, it's with Destin from IGN. Great dude. Met him back at the Screw Attack Gaming Convention a few years back, actually. I've met him a few times and talked to him. He's a cool dude, and he's the type of guy, not trying to steal his point. He's the type of guy he's the interviewer that asks the tough questions. So he definitely left no stone unturned when it comes to the gear, the microtransactions, how the gear works with tournament play, and how they're going to balance all of that, online ranked matches, and all of that good stuff. Whether you can turn supers off, stage transitions off, do they get multiple of them, etc., etc., etc. He covered so much of it, and he tried to pick apart at the story a little bit. Basically, I'm just going to recap it rather than go through the entire video this time. But so kudos to Destin for asking the great questions, and Ed was pretty forthcoming with a lot of the info. So this has been the most informative interview I've seen thus far. Basically, supers, they only have one still, pretty much what we expected. I don't know what's wrong with my throat. What the hell's happening to me? I think I'm dying. No, I'm okay. All right, we're good. I think that got rid of it. Okay. One super. I don't think any of us were expecting, though they're trying to shorten the super length down and the stage transition length down just to keep it shorter for people that don't want to wait through all of that, which is cool. But they still look awesome, and they look great and very, very epic. One thing that was interesting is during the supers, I believe you can press certain buttons, do certain combinations at the specific times, and they're not going to let anybody know what those are. So I'm sure everyone will know on day one anyways, just because people find this stuff quick. But basically, it's almost like fatalities in the sense that there's going to be certain button inputs that you can put at specific times during the supers to do more damage than you normally would. So that's kind of cool. So I think Supergirls went from like 32 to 42 or whatever % of damage just by pressing different buttons at specific times. Destin noticed that and asked Ed about that, and that's what he said is basically there's that kind of stuff that they're implementing. The actual gear, they touched upon that. The gear, I want to go ahead and go back into that because there's some parts of this video I did want to show everybody just in case you don't go watch the video yourself, which I always strongly recommend. Not trying to show other people's content and get hits off of showing their content. That's why I keep the volume low and kind of talk over it, as I'm not trying to make it so basically come to our channel and you'll get all the videos. Like, no, that's not fair. So anyways, but I do want to cover these, so I will show you these clips.
Okay.
So
let's look at the last stage, and maybe we
see.
can go into the gear system really quick and show you some of the.
It looks really interesting, though. I really like the way it's looking, actually.
Yeah,
this is your gear menu where you can kind of look at everything you've unlocked and then equip it to each character.
exactly.
Looks really awesome, changing the characters' looks by this.
Very frequent drops, a lot of drops of
So
gear.
just Supergirl here.
Yourself with every single thing
Take off the helm or the headpiece there with the headpiece, shirt, the armor.
But
changes up all of this, the sash, the split cape back here.
We have these things that
Even her color scheme you can change. That's fucking awesome. I'm sorry, but I'm going to pause this. I know not everybody's digging the idea of changing stats and like that, but the fact that we can just mold the person's attires around specific things that are thematic to the character, I think that's great. I think that's an awesome addition. If you don't like the way a certain outfit looks, now you can change it. That's what's awesome about this system, in my opinion, is you can mold the character to look how you want them, and your Batman or your Supergirl or whatever is not going to look like everybody else's. Instead of just having two attires, now we have all of this armor to add, or it's not even I think calling it armor is not really fair because some of it's just clothing. It's clothing, it's attire options, sashes, leggings, forearm guards, shoulder pads, guards, whatever. Shoulder pads like you're playing football, headgear and stuff like that. And even the color scheme, like I think that's really cool and it all looks really good.
Sculpt the version of the character that you want as far as this looks as well.
Yeah, so you can design them aesthetically, but if we look at the stats here, level 20 looks like the max level.
So yeah, you keep getting pieces for different characters as you level them up, and I think that's really awesome. So you get random pieces. I think I'm excited for this.
How you're gonna manage to do that? There just has to be like stats off, cosmetic on.
Like there's base Batman, you could say.
And the
I don't know if that's base Batman, but just to give you an idea. And then he switches his Batman here in a second.
Like, playing against other characters. But like I said, if you go to a tournament
to a different Batman here. Boom. I think that looks fantastic. I think that looks really cool. Really, really awesome. I think it's a cool system, guys. And they're saying over 10,000 pieces of gear. Over 10,000 is what they're saying, and I think that's amazing. Yes, it's going to lead to microtransactions. Absolutely. But, oh well, it's stuff. I mean, think of it this way. In the game itself, without all of the gear and the microtransactions, at most we're getting 2 costumes. And then obviously 5 and 6 for the most popular characters. But each character is generally going to get 2 costumes, maybe 3, and some more if you're Batman and Superman. Okay. With this, now we have gear, so if you like certain aspects, you don't like Superman's gloves, don't use the gloves. No glove, no love. But seriously though, you can change up, I don't know why I do those things. You can change up the character's outfit, you can change up their color schemes. I think that's really, really cool. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm apologizing. Not everyone hates on it. There are some people that appreciate the system or think it's cool or are optimistic about it, but I think it's definitely something I'm looking forward to in the game. I've long said I like the thing that Tekken did where you could change the pieces on the character. So if you want Rice Hat on Raven, you could do that. So, and I said Raven, not mixing up with Raiden. I'm talking about Tekken. The dude that was pretty much like a Blade knockoff, and he looked awesome. But anyways, so say you want skull-headed Scorpion, you could have that. Or you want chains around him, you could have that. Like, that's how it would work with MKX. Well, now we're having it with superheroes, and they have different pieces that look really cool. So you want Batman Beyond Batman, you can make Batman Beyond Batman. I'm digging it. And I love the potential of 10,000 pieces. They're adding a ton of it because obviously that's where the microtransaction part is. Each fight or each time you level up, you get loot drops, as they call them, to add to random pieces to collect. I think that's cool. Yes, it might take a long time to get what you're looking for, but it keeps you wanting to play more and more and more. It's a very addictive system, but it works. It works. If they make the DLC free, I think they shouldn't be criticized at all. But I think however they're going to get their money, whatever they're going to do with it, that's up to them. But I think the actual changing up the outfits look really cool. But on top of it, as he's about to mention, you can actually, certain gear gives you specific moves for your character. So as you mentioned, Batman can get a triple Batarang move, specific when he was wearing a piece of armor. That's really awesome. So yeah, we're getting a lot of the same normals and specials, but they're adding to it as well, because obviously we've seen some specials like Batman's Kryptonite punch looking thing that he does, as well as I'm sure there's several others, and each character is going to have like specific moves. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential here. Obviously, it's got to be fleshed out right and balanced correctly, but I think it could be a lot of fun. It adds variety to the gameplay. You could do that, say, when we're playing online. You could do one with custom combat, with all the custom, not custom combat, but custom gear and all that stuff. And then you can have, and Ed says this is, he'd be surprised if they don't do ranked modes with gear, ranked modes without gear, tournaments. Obviously, they're going to make sure the tournament players still have their modes without any of the gimmicks, so to speak, and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm not worried about it. I'm really not. I think it's going to be fun. It's just going to be additional stuff to keep people interested. I buy into things like that. I love collecting stuff and getting loot and all that. I mean, that's stuff that's proven to work on casuals, and even competitive players might get into that. Just because you don't want to fight with it doesn't mean you don't enjoy collecting it. And just when you're playing casuals and having fun online with friends and not being ultra competitive doesn't mean you don't want to throw in some, make your character look cool. And the best part is, you know, what I'm hoping for is you can use the gear without the stat changing stuff, and so that way it's purely cosmetic. Then you get the best of both worlds, so to speak. Let's see what else they cover.
Upgraded with those,
So this looks really cool. But not only does it change that, it changes her eye blast into a purple. So it can change things like that too. Like she actually is using like purplish, pinkish eye blast as she's. So I don't know how they changed that. It must go with her color scheme or something like that, or maybe it's something she selected or a piece of gear. But yeah, I think that's interesting as well. I love that backflip kick of hers. I know I've said that several times, but
Yeah, so like when you fight Batman,
you're about to see
you're really
the
not gonna know what you're gonna get going in.
eye beams
There's
here,
a big
different
set.
colors.
Yes.
So yeah, you get almost like a gambity purplish pink there. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and it's access to as many.
It's just adding more to the game, in my opinion. As long as you have something that appeals to both, I see no harm in it. I really don't. And then, like I said, I covered most of the important stuff about this interview. One last thing is he asked Ed about the microtransactions. I don't really want to go into that. Like I said, I don't see the harm in it, but he has to ask the tough questions anyways. But here's Ed's answer for yourself here. Let's see.
Spend all that time to.
Thousands of pieces.
It's pretty much what you would expect, but
Is this setting the game up to do a microtransaction system?
Well, it's absolutely not setting the game up to do it. You know, we haven't decided what we're going to do for the people who don't want to spend. You know, this feature, if I would describe it, I would say it's something that we would like to see lasting, you know, months, you know, many months, and the process of playing it up. Some players may not want.
by the way, her face looks fine there. I honestly think it's just the shadowing in the other trailer. Plus, the other trailers seem like lower quality. Maybe it's because it was on a stream. I don't know.
Want to actually spend all that time to level up their characters,
Yeah.
and they may want some kind of another way to do it, but we haven't really made any kind of decisions based on that. So.
Got it. Thank you, Ed. I am super excited about Injustice 2. I hope you guys are also. Thank you.
I just have to point out this honestly made me feel bad. But watch Ed's expression after Destin closes this. Basically, his last question was the microtransaction question, which is never a good question. Even if the microtransactions are, you know, implemented well, like in Halo 5 or Overwatch, where it's not really affecting the gameplay, it's just there, and you can do it. You know, you can have fun with the game, collect all the stuff, and not pay a cent, and still have a great time. And those who want to pay can pay. But it's not a pay-to-win system, so to speak. I mean, I guess if you're into the custom part and you want to go online, some people are going to have the stuff before you because they paid out a ton of money. But, like I said, I don't know. Most people aren't really going to be the people doing that, so I don't really see the harm in it, like I said. But everyone dreads that question if you're a game developer, so just watch how, like, this is just kind of... This makes you squirm a little bit.
So much for coming on our show today.
We absolutely appreciate you having us. It's always great to see you guys.
Like I said at the beginning, it's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Here it is. Just watch Ed Boon.
Guys, you want more
He's smiling, kind of like,
Injustice 2? You're already in the right place. IGN.
Motherfucker. Look at this motherfucker right here. He is just like, man, he had to. He just has that look. That fucking, like, microtransaction question to finish. And then smile. Okay, now I just had to point that out. It was funny to me. Just kind of heartbreaking. One more time.
Thank you. Guys, you want more Injustice
Happy, kind of thinking about it.
2? You're already in the right place.
Fuck.
IGN.
That's that stare. Smile. But no, I'm just kidding. He probably wasn't thinking that, but it definitely looks like he was. But anyways, on that note, I covered the main parts of the... It looks like we are continuing from Injustice 1 storyline, as we've talked about in previous videos, so that is the case. Cool. And excited to see where we go. Like I said, excited to see the gear, how how all the characters are going to look. I mean, that's another thing to be excited for, is usually you're looking for alternate attires. Now we get to look and see for all the gear that our favorite characters are getting, which is really cool. Hopefully they have some iconic pieces in there. Overall, looks good to me. Cautiously optimistic about the gear and all of that. I'm excited. I'm hyped. Hopefully you guys are too. And that'll end it for this video and the IGN Q&A with Ed Boon. Peace. Peace? Who the hell am I? I don't say peace. Take it easy.